Lindy is a beautiful 7-year-old girl, an only child born into a very wealthy family. Her parents love her deeply and give her everything they possibly can. But there is one thing they do not fully understand about their daughter. Lindy has a severe emotional behavior disorder, one that causes sudden and explosive outbursts of anger. Whenever her feelings are hurt, whether on purpose or by accident, being insulted, mocked, or looked down on, Lindy reacts without control. Her anger comes fast, violent, and completely uncontrollable. As time goes on, her behavior becomes more and more dangerous, forcing her parents to seek professional help. After a series of evaluations, a psychiatrist diagnoses Lindy with intermittent explosive disorder. From that point on, a psychiatric hospital becomes her home throughout her teenage years. Before any effective treatment exists, the only solution is isolation. Doctors believe it is the safest option for everyone around her. But the isolation has an unexpected effect. Lindy becomes faster and stronger than normal people. When her emotions are triggered, she can break free from restraints and violently attack anyone she perceives as a threat, even trained battles. What begins as a terrifying condition is eventually seen as a rare talent. Her abnormal strength and reflexes attract the attention of the military, and Lindy is recruited and trained as a soldier. Unfortunately, the training does nothing to heal her emotional instability. In fact, the therapy drugs used during her training only make her condition worse. Everything changes when a doctor discovers a new breakthrough. He creates a device designed to suppress emotional surges. The system consists of a button connected to electrodes attached to Lindy's body. Whenever her emotions start to spiral out of control, Lindy has a choice. She can press the button and calm herself, or she can let the anger take over. This device becomes the only thing keeping her in control. This is Joel. Without realizing it, Lindy grows into a 27-year-old woman. Determined to live a normal life, she pushes herself to go on a dinner date with a man who invited her to a restaurant. Nervous but hopeful, she tries to manage her anxiety, praying that this date will not end in another failure. Deep down, she dreams of finding a husband and a peaceful future. At the restaurant, Lindy approaches a man named Justin. Before even sitting down, fear creeps in. She worries her emotions might flare up again, and briefly considers canceling the date altogether. But Justin's calm and easygoing presence slowly puts her at ease. She decides to stay, sitting down and trying her best to relax, even though the awkward tension is still there. Not long after, a waitress approaches their table with an irritating attitude. Every time Justin orders food or drinks, she bluntly claims that each item is unavailable. The repeated dismissals begin to push Lindy's emotions toward the edge. Her grip tightens around the dinner knife, a silent signal that she is seconds away from losing control. At the last moment, Lindy snaps back to reality. Acting on instinct, she presses the button. The surge of rage is suppressed, and the waitress unknowingly escapes a deadly outcome. Inside the restroom, Lindy originally plans to calm herself down and ease the tension, but instead she faintly hears a woman's voice. It turns out to be the same waitress from earlier, gossiping on the phone with a friend and mocking the strange dinner date of two customers, Lindy and Justin. Hearing that, Lindy immediately tries to hold back her emotions and presses the button to suppress the surge of anger. But for reasons she cannot understand, the device suddenly fails to respond. With nothing holding her back, Lindy completely loses control. The anger explodes and she violently attacks the waitress without restraint. The situation spirals too far to undo, forcing Lindy to leave the restaurant and go home without telling Justin anything. The next morning, Lindy goes straight to the doctor who created the device, Dr. Munchin. She demands that he fix it, explaining that it failed the night before and led to someone being seriously hurt. After examining the device, Dr. Munchin explains that there is nothing mechanically wrong with it. Instead, Lindy's extreme emotional surge overwhelmed the system, preventing the electrical shock from activating and causing the button to fail. To prevent this from happening again, Dr. Munchin reluctantly increases the voltage of the device. At the same time, he warns Lindy not to rely on it too heavily. He reminds her that the device is only a temporary solution, and that true recovery can only come from learning to build emotional connections naturally. That night, Lindy meets Justin again at another location. She apologizes for running away the previous evening, explaining that her mood was not stable at the time. They spend the night talking, slowly opening up to each other. Justin reveals that he works as an accountant at a well-known company, while Lindy shares that she is currently searching for a new job and has a passion for photography. For reasons she cannot fully explain, Lindy feels unexpectedly comfortable around Justin. His words calm her, easing emotions she has never truly understood before. For the first time in her life, Lindy realizes she is falling in love. The intensity of their connection draws them into Lindy's apartment. where the rush of emotions briefly pushes her dangerously close to losing control. Suddenly, Lindy snaps back to her senses and pulls away. She does not want Justin to get hurt, knowing that losing control could put his life at risk. But Justin shows no fear or concern. He does not even question the cables attached to her body. That night, they remain together, sharing a moment of closeness that feels genuine and safe to Lindy for the first time. The next morning, Lindy wakes up to find Justin beside her in bed. As she turns around, she realizes he has just returned after buying breakfast for her. To her surprise, the man who has already captured her heart gives her a special gift, a DSLR camera. Justin also invites Lindy to dinner at his apartment that night, promising to cook the best meal they will ever share together. As night falls, Lindy gets ready carefully, dressing up and waiting for Justin to arrive and pick her up. Time passes, but he never shows up. There's no message, no call, not even a short update. Anxiety slowly takes over, until Lindy finally gathers the courage to call him herself. What she hears on the other end shocks her completely. Instead of Justin, the call is answered by a detective. When Lindy arrives at the police station, two detectives named Vickers and Niven inform her that Justin has been found dead inside a trash container, shot twice in the head. Refusing to believe it so easily, Lindy begs Detective Vickers to let her see Justin's body, but police procedure allows only family members to identify the victim. Justin's sudden and mysterious death hits Lindy hard. Her world collapses as she is forced to accept that the man who had just brought light into her life is truly gone. From that moment on, Lindy sinks into deep depression. Her emotions spiral out of control, and she lashes out, blaming Dr. Munchin for everything that has happened. Fearing she might harm herself, Munchin is left with no choice but to sedate her. When Lindy regains consciousness, she explains everything and makes one thing clear. She plans to find the person responsible for Justin's death, no matter what. Even though Dr. Munchin strongly forbids it, Lindy moves forward with her plan. She arranges a meeting with Vickers and Niven, pretending she has important information to share. In reality, she uses the meeting to push them out of the office. That is when Lindy sneaks into the evidence storage room and retrieves Justin's phone and identification card. Using his ID, she easily tracks down his home address. She gains entry with an electronic keycard found in his wallet and begins searching the apartment for clues. The disappearance of evidence quickly turns Lindy into a wanted suspect, accused of interfering with an active police investigation. Suddenly, Detective Niven appears and attempts to arrest her. Lindy fights back without hesitation and escapes in a car at high speed. Her adrenaline surges as she races through the streets, pushing Vickers to his limit. The chief ends a crash. The following morning, Lindy seeks out a young woman skilled in hacking, with help from 3 employees at an electronics store. She asks the hacker to recover any remaining data from Justin's phone. After examining it, the hacker discovers that most of the data has been erased. However, one crucial detail remains. There are 7 recent call records, all traced to locations in the city center. One of those calls leads to a name, Barry Kaspersky, a highly dangerous arms dealer and the owner of an underground fight arena. Armed with that information, Lindy immediately heads to an underground boxing arena, where 2 fighters are locked in a brutal match. Without hesitation, she pushes through the crowd and brings the fight to a stop. Ignoring the danger around her, Lindy boldly confronts Barry, demanding answers about Justin's death. Caught off guard by her sudden appearance, Barry initially refuses to cooperate, but after a moment, he makes a deal. He promises to give her the information she wants on one condition. Lindy must defeat his 3 best fighters first. Without fear or hesitation, Lindy accepts the challenge. Holly takes down all 3 fighters, leaving them dead. True to his word, Barry then offers to take her to meet the person responsible for killing Justin. But inside the car, it becomes clear that Barry has been lying all along. Suddenly, a man pulls a gun and aims it directly at Lindy's head. Lindy reacts instantly. She overpowers the gunman and manages to restrain Barry. Desperate and terrified, Barry begs for mercy, hoping Lindy will not use the electric shock on him. Even then, he continues to withhold the truth. Enraged, Lindy finally shocks Barry until he is left barely alive. Only then does she learn the name behind it all. Even the Gareth Fiesel, Barry's boss, and the man who ordered Justin's murder. Determined to know more, Lindy immediately visits Detective Vickers, who is recovering in the hospital. She asks who Gareth Fiesel really is and where he can be found. Vickers explains that Gareth is an extremely dangerous mafia figure, someone so powerful that no one dares to cross him. Even federal agencies like the FBI and CIA refuse to get involved in cases connected to him. That same night, Lindy goes straight to Gareth's corporate building. One of Gareth's trusted men, Gustavo, allows her inside and claims he will take her to meet his boss. But while they are inside the elevator, Lindy is suddenly attacked and knocked unconscious. When she wakes up, Lindy finds herself tied up. All the devices that once restrained her anger have been removed from her body. Later, while being driven away by a trusted driver, Lindy begins to shake. Without her vest, her body feels unstable and dangerous. She asks to be let out in the middle of the road, but the driver refuses. Her adrenaline surges, and she loses control, attacking the glass and causing... Meanwhile, Dr. Munchin returns to his clinic and is stunned to find Lindy in critical condition. No one knows how she managed to get there, but it is clear she needs immediate help. Lindy asks Dr. Munchin to lend her a spare vest. The next day, Lindy puts on the backup vest and returns to her apartment. Almost immediately, she senses something is wrong with the door. She decides to enter through a window and discovers that the apartment has been rigged with cables like a trap. Thinking quickly, Lindy sets up her own counter trap, placing it inside the microwave and turning on the gas stove. After activating the microwave and stove to trigger an explosion, Lindy escapes and jumps into a car belonging to Vickers, who appears to be watching her from a distance. Moments later, the apartment erupts in a massive explosion, confirming her suspicions were right all along. As night falls, Lindy makes her next move. She attempts to enter Gareth's building by climbing the exterior, pushing herself higher despite the danger. Just as she is about to reach the top, she is suddenly confronted at gunpoint. Lindy is captured and taken inside to meet Gareth Faisal face to face. It is there that Gareth openly admits he was the one who killed Justin. The truth ignites Lindy's rage, but before she can react, she is struck and knocked unconscious. Not long after, Lindy slowly wakes up. Still barely conscious, she realizes her hands are tied to a chair. A machine is forcibly draining her blood, causing intense pain and leaving her completely vulnerable. What Gustavo fails to understand is that anger itself is Lindy's most dangerous weapon. In a sudden surge, she breaks free and unleashes her fury, slaughtering every one of Gareth's men in her path. She then makes her way toward Gareth's private room, opening the secured door using a severed piece of Gustavo's finger. Expecting a final confrontation, Lindy steps inside only to be met with a shocking sight. Gareth is already dead. Before she can process what this means, an even greater betrayal reveals itself. Justin was alive. He is exposed as a CIA agent who had been undercover all along. Justin had manipulated Lindy from the beginning, using her abilities to eliminate Gareth. He was also the one secretly funding Dr. Munchin's research and the creation of the control vest. The betrayal pushes Lindy beyond rage. She lunges forward ready to kill Justin. But before she can strike, Justin activates a control button, instantly dropping Lindy to the ground, powerless. He takes pleasure in her suffering, repeatedly triggering the device to torment her. As Justin continues to mock her, waves of electricity surge through Lindy's body. The overload causes the control device to malfunction. In a split second, Lindy manages to throw a bag containing a bomb she had prepared earlier. The explosion kills Justin instantly. With Justin finally gone, Lindy rushes to confront Dr. Munchin for betraying her trust. But just as she is about to act, Vickers and his partner intervene, shooting Lindy in the leg to stop her. Dr. Munchin is arrested on the spot, charged with illegal practices, and forced to face the consequences of his actions. Sometime later at the hospital, detectives Vickers and Niven question Lindy. In the end, they choose to protect her from prosecution. After all, because of Lindy, Gareth Faisal, the mafia boss who had long been untouchable by the law, has finally been erased from the world. And with that, the story comes to an end. So the moral of the story is never go someone who has anger issues, military training, a shock vest, and access to explosives. Just send a text. It is cheaper and safer.